back in 2020, I took my problem-solving skills that I've developed over the 12 plus years of being a full-time entrepreneur and applied them to an industry that I had no idea, I had nothing about, was brand new in, and ended up coming across the best, most hidden secret in the wide open that there is, and that's the subscription-based business model. Now, I was a real estate broker at the time, in 2020, the fall of 2020, and I probably had some deal unraveling. Who knows what stress was going on, but real estate was stressing me out. The ups and the downs, the feast and the famine. I got into real estate because I was passionate about helping, first-time home buyers avoid mortgage insurance, of all things. I had to stay in there because I didn't want to go back to corporate America ever again. I gotten let go from a nonprofit back in 2011, and was super passionate about helping people through attain affordable home ownership, only to learn that, anyway, long story, I'm not gonna go there. So here I am. I was jealous, if I'm going to be straight. I was jealous. Here I am, this big time real estate broker in my own mind, thinking that, I'm entitled to all of this wealth just because of who I am in the space. How could a notary come, a notary? How can a notary be making 10 grand a month and I'm not? Like, that was my attitude about the whole situation. So I had a very egotistical attitude towards it. And I was like, well, let me figure it out. And once I get in there, watch what I do. So that was my attitude about the whole thing. I didn't know what was about to happen. All I knew was my real estate business was not consistently giving me the kind of income that I felt that I deserved over the time that I had. I'm a broker. I own my own firm. I felt like at the very least, if there's a notary making $10,000 a month, then I should be making $10,000 a month. So that was my whole attitude, good, bad, or ugly. That was my attitude. So I said, you know what? I'm about to figure out this notary thing. So I started watching all the YouTube videos, and I saw how the retired teacher was making $12,000, and then the part-time customer service agent was making $12,000, and I'm like, broke, right? So I'm like, no, we're not going to do this. So I consumed all of the YouTube. You do what you normally do when you find something that piques your interest. You go down the rabbit hole. I went down the rabbit hole, the YouTube rabbit hole. I immediately identified the top trainers in this space and bought every single one of their training programs. I'm finna figure out, I'm thinking like an entrepreneur. I'm finna get everything I need, capitalize on their weaknesses, come in with something stronger. So every training that was out there was focused on one thing, helping a notary learn how to be a loan signing agent, right? Meanwhile, keep in mind, this is what I'm thinking I'm about to do. Here I am, a real estate broker, thinking I'm going to do this because this is where the money is at, right? Just loan signing stuff. I know the paperwork. Hell, I used to be a lender. So no problem, right? So I purchased all the training from all the big timers and started going through it. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to have to do what? I'm going to have to drive to people's houses. Okay, this is something I had gotten away from as a broker. I was no longer driving to people's houses unless I was putting a sign in the yard, right? So that was one of the tasks as a broker that I no longer wanted to do, was be driving buyers around. So that was the first thing the notary did, and I discovered. Then before that, they had to print out 200 pages or more of docs and get them all organized, okay, so that they could take them out to this house, all right? And I'm like, no, that was one of the things as a broker I did not like. I did not want to do that then. I do not want to do that now. I do not want green eggs and ham, okay? I'm just trying to make the $10,000 a month, please, okay? So the reality hit that the reason they were making $10,000 a month was because they were hustling these loan signings at $150 a pop. They were driving 45 minutes one way or hour one way, 20 minutes one, whatever. They were driving all types of weather. Of course, we were mid-pandemic at this point. So none of this appealed to me as a broker. Remember, ego, right? I'm at the top of the food chain. I am not going to do all that. So once I realized that was not something I wanted to do, I said, well, there's an opportunity here. Because all of the main players in the industry were training on one thing and one thing only, and that was how to do a loan signing. They weren't talking about any other way to make money. And as a broker, I knew that in real estate, the real estate buy and sell transaction wasn't the only thing that a notary was involved in. There was commercial stuff that was going on. So I felt like, let me try to figure that out. And that was kind of real. I still haven't figured that one out. And when I do, you'll be the first to know about it. But bottom line was, there were these things called general notary work opportunities that they could do, right? So I said, and these are just your regular notarizations for like wills, estate plans, stuff that has to deal with probate, affidavits, all these other different things that they could put together and make some decent money at. So there was problems intrinsic in that because people only needed a notarization when they needed it. And so we found that out after several attempts. But my point was this: none of the other trainers were even focusing on that topic. So a lot of the notaries that had, like me, found those YouTube videos and started down the rabbit hole were quickly disappointed once they realized, hey, this is not what I want to do. So this was August video watching, September, got my notary commission, October, bought all of the courses. By November, it was done. That model was not something I was going to pursue anymore. So I politely exited myself, stage left, okay, from the notary signing agent opportunity, and instead still on that ego float. Are you done? Still on that ego float, decided to, hey, I got a real estate brokerage. I should just start me a notary brokerage, right? So I set the notary brokerage up, called it Complete Signings, and decided to start recruiting. And before I sent anybody out under my name, because I heard all the horror stories from some of the title companies about how notaries screwed up the whole deal, and that was not going to be my outfit. My outfit was going to be tight. They were going to be right. They were going to know what they needed to do. They were going to show up professional. They were going to smell good. They were going to look good. They were going to boom, 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 right? And so I recruited from that point of view and said, let me attract who I want. So I said, I'm going to set up a Facebook group, Notary Nerds. Set up the Facebook group. The Facebook group was doing great, growing like by the hundreds and thousands every single week. Everybody got in there discovering the same thing. Oh my gosh, so hard to get loan signings. Where do I get loan signings? Oh my gosh. A lot of them didn't have some of the basic business principles that you needed to start a business as well. I noticed as well. So I kept seeing all these opportunities with this group of hungry people who really wanted to make something happen. So my broker hat is just ding, 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 ding. So I said, I'm going to figure out how to do this because I got too many people joining this group every week. You know, at one point, I think there was like 2,000 to 3,000 people a week joining. And so I knew right then, the entrepreneur in me knew right then I had something, right? I just had to figure out what that something was. I knew all the trainers were focusing on one thing, and I'm hearing all these people talk about how that one thing is not working out for them. So I said, let me try something. I put some classes out there, and they ate them up. $97. You know, I put a $97 price point on just to kind of see what people would be willing and able to pay for. And the reason I was able to put classes out there was because I forgot to tell you, I was recruiting. Remember, I changed my mind and wasn't going to do the work, but was going to set up a brokerage to do the work. And in doing so, I put out a form in a couple of the notary groups recruiting for a signing service. I said, you know what? Loan signings is not my ministry, but I'm a broker and I want to help y'all find the work. So here's my new signing service. If you're interested, let me know. So people started to give me their names, emails, and their background and profession and all this different stuff. And I'm just thinking, these are some pretty badass people in this list. Like I thought this kind of just one day I opened up the form, checking the responses, and I'm like, he's an autopilot. He's a pilot. She's a principal. She's got her JD. Like all these people were not just like your customer service reps, no shade, but these people were like, you know, I was like really impressed with the caliber of the knowledge in this group, which sent off a light bulb in me like no other. I said, OMG. I got a group of people who want to learn stuff. And I got another group of people who can teach them the stuff. And that right there is when I knew I had something, but I didn't know what it was. Okay. So January 1st, 2021, I launched Notary Nerd University. And I might not have mentioned when I started recruiting, the name of the Facebook group was Notary Nerds. Why? Because I wanted the best and the brightest notaries in this space. Because I heard all the horror stories about how, you know, signing services and title companies have had bad notaries and bad experiences, non-professional. So that was not going to be me. You were not going to take, you know, my 11 years as a full-time real estate professional, or 10 or 9 at that point, and run my name in the ground, okay, by, you know, messing up on a transaction or on a closing or anything like that. So I set a group name. I put a name in motion that attracted who I wanted right away. Okay. So that was key. Okay. Hold on to that. So they came to me already assuming that they fit the bill. Oh, Notary Nerds, I want to be that. So they joined. That's why, see, that's important. It's a very important thing that you notice. The name is very important to what I'm going to call your community. We'll talk about that here in a couple of more chapters. But anyway, so I'm attracting all these super smart people and all these super smart accomplishments and all these different things, right? And so I launched Notary Nerd University. And on January the 1st, 2021, I had 3 different ways you could join, right? Monthly, no. I hadn't gone to the monthly, and annual at that point. At that point, I had a $37 membership, a $67 membership, and a $97 membership, okay? Now, as I'm telling you this, I want you to think in terms of, why is she telling me about notaries? It doesn't matter who it is, right? As an entrepreneur, you have an expertise, an ability, okay, just like I do, right? We're no different. That's why you got this book, right? You have an expertise and an ability to find the cash, right? You just need to figure out what in your sphere, and I'm gonna help you do that in this book. You need to figure out what that looks like in your space. Okay. I don't care if you're a beautician. I don't care if you're a lawn service. I don't care if you pressure water. I don't care what industry you're in. It does not matter. What we are in right now is a situation where people are seeking out knowledge in ways that they have never done before, ever, or been able to do. They're wanting to learn things that they can't find in a book and that they weren't taught in school. Okay. And as entrepreneurs, especially those of us who've been out and been entrepreneurs full time for years and years, they look at us like we're like, wow, how have you been able to do it? And don't tell them you're a single parent and how have you been able, so they already look to us as somewhat of, we have credibility in that alone. So, but we'll figure out what that is for you, and I'll give you some exercises to help with that. But the bottom line is, I launched Notary Nerds on January 1st, 2021, $37, $67, and $97 a month, and it never stopped. It never stopped from January the 1st of 2021 to this writing, right? That business is still generating 5 figures monthly. We've had some slowdown here in the last 8 months because of the interest rates have gone up and things like that have slowed down the loan signings. So it's still generating a healthy 4 figures every month for sure. But the slowdown has happened, which is why this is another, thing. It's helped me realize that I had to pivot outside of that, because for the last 2 years, I've been getting, between $10,000 and $20,000 and $30,000 a month from this thing that I created that I didn't even know it was a thing, right? And I was so focused on it that I went all in on notary, right? Put my real estate brokerage stuff to the side. I had a farm I started. I put that to the side because this is where the money was. This is where the cash flow was. But then once the interest rates started going up and things started to slow down, I realized that I can turn the money up, but it wasn't bringing me joy. I could bundle my stuff. There's so many different ways. I can't wait to tell you guys all the different ways I've made money with this thing. But the bottom line was, in my mind, I can only make it with them. Then I realized, wait, Dodo Bird, this is the framework. You have a dozen other areas of knowledge and expertise and influence that you could do this exact same thing in, right? So there is where I said to myself, okay, let me go ahead and let me set this on autopilot. Now that I've created it, 2 years have gone, let me set it on autopilot, meaning that let me digitize everything, throw it in a Google Drive, put a price on it, and give people lifetime access to it. And let me tell you, they ate it up. When I tell you guys, this cash flow is no longer a problem with you. Now that you have this book in your hands, it's no longer a problem. Because when you have expertise in anything, I don't give a dadgum what it's in. If you've got expertise in anything, I can help you and find 200, 300, 400 people. Really, all you need is a good solid 250, 300. I call them the 300, okay? All you need is to provide 300 people with high levels of information, okay, in that expertise that can't nobody dispute you as being the expert in, on a regular and consistent basis, and actually help them, right? And you will not have to worry about money again. Yes, you can still do hair. Yes, you can still fix cars. Yes, you can still sell houses. Yes, you can still do the thing that brought you to the dance, but you're not going to have to just do that. In addition to that, you're monetizing that expertise in such a way that you're going to see that 5-figure cash flow every single month, and it's going to have all sorts of unintended positive consequences that you cannot even imagine, namely the development of some business credit and access to capital. So let's talk about that in some of the future chapters, but I'm glad that you're here. Peace.